first data job. All right, so my name is Ayodele, and I'll be the host. Yeah, so before I bring up Okbe, I'm just going to talk a little about Data Jedi, and then I'm also going to talk about Okwe, basically just give you an idea of what his profile is, and then I'll bring him up. All right. Okay, so basically, Data Jedi has a dual mission, and the dual mission is basically to bridge the gap in the African data science ecosystem by training industry-ready data scientists and connecting them to high-demand data science opportunities, right? So the interesting thing here is it's not just about training, you know, a number of people already do trainings, but it's also about, yes, upskilling people, but beyond upskilling people, how can they be connected to high-demand data science opportunities? You know, which is also why this AMA session is being organized, right? So the focus isn't just on training, it's actually on how people can be connected to, you know, very high demand data science opportunities locally and internationally, right? The second mission is helping organizations to unlock the power of data using machine learning and artificial intelligence, right? And basically at the team strongly believes in the mantra of learning by doing, right? Which is why the team is advocating for real world project building approach to learning data science. So in Data Jedi, it's not just about, oh, learn the theory, do this tutorial, do that tutorial. It's also about how can this be applied to a real world project? Data science is an applied field, right? So it's very important that beyond just the tutorials and getting in a tutorial rut, you know, you're actually applying that to real world projects and building your portfolio. So that's it about Data Jedi. One of the co-founders, Fola Jimmy, is also going to be talking about the academy and a couple of other things, but that'll be at the end of this. But for now, we're going to be having Opeyemi Fabiyi speak to us. All right, so Opeyemi is a very good friend. Amazing personality. Like I said earlier, he's one of the leading voices in this space. I'm just going to read out his profile and then I'm going to bring him up. Okay, so Okwe currently works as lead data scientist at Cowrywise, one of the burgeoning fintechs in Nigeria, where he's building a data-driven organization from scratch, leveraging on cutting-edge technology stacks. Prior to joining Cowrywise, he worked with Deloitte as a data analytics consultant, where he was involved in various analytics projects across different industries. He also worked with Bergdorf, Nivea Cream, I hope I got that right, as a supply chain planning analyst, where he used analytics to support the logistics business. Outside work, Okwe is a community advocate who is passionate about democratizing data science and analytics knowledge and providing guidance and mentorship for enthusiasts. He currently leads a young data community and is also the convener of the DBT Nigeria Meetup, a global community with the vision of helping data analysts and data lovers own their entire analytics workflow. Now, I mean, if you're active on LinkedIn and some of the social media platforms, you definitely would have heard about because it's very active, always posting nuggets, always posting interesting things, trends, posting his thoughts about the data space internationally, locally, and he's actually well recognized. All right, so well, we can't do a standing ovation. It's not a physical meeting, but I'd just like us to welcome Opeyemi Fabiyi as he talks to us about landing your first data science job. All right, so Opeyemi, over to you.
Mic check. Good evening. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
All right. Oh, great. Let me just share my screen. Can you please give me permission to?
Okay, Freddie, can you do that?
Yes, so do I will do that now.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, should be able to now.
Okay, I think you have to stop sharing first. All right. Okay, great. I think I can share my screen now. Let me know when you can see my screen, please.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for having me. It's an honor. Thank you, Mr. Hayward. Thank you for Jimmy, and thank you to the entire team of Data Jedi for having me. It's really, really an honor. So without further ado, I'll be talking around landing your first data science job. And a little bit about me. My name is Opeyemi, just as I think I don't need to go over this. I will just dive into my agenda for today. So I'll be talking around first my transition into the data science space, which kind of not so straightforward. I will also be talking about the current state of data science role in Nigeria and maybe also in the global space before I now buttress on how to land a data science job. Because as much as possible, if you don't understand what the current state of data science role in Nigeria, you as a data enthusiast may not, you may not be strategic on how you position yourself to land that first job. And as you would see along my presentation, that it's actually a very, very laborious one. But based on your understanding of how the current state of data science job role is currently in Nigeria, you'll be able to know how to position yourself. And after explaining how to land your data science job, I'll talk a little bit about my insights into my day at Cowrywise. What does Opey do as a data scientist at Cowrywise, basically? Then I'll give room for questions. Understanding this is just for 40 minutes. I would move at the speed of light. So now my transition into data science. Now my transition into data science actually stirred up for as a result of knowledge skill gap. I'm actually an A grade student. I was one of the top 3 in my department in terms of grade. But during my final year, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who is also in the data science space, Demlade by name, and we're more or less talking around what next after University of Ibadan. And we're having that interesting conversation. And it all dawned on me that I used my 5 years in the university to earn a good grade, which is not so bad. As at my final year, I was already on a 6.6 CGPA over 7. University of Ibadan used 7.7 CGPA. Now, it all dawned on me that, guy, if they remove grade from you, what can you do? Practically nothing. So that means I see myself as someone that have nothing to offer in the job market outside my first class grade. And that became a real war. I needed to face that reality that, fine. So I needed to face that reality that, yes, I've used my 5 years in the university to build a grade. So I think before it's too late, I can use the next 1 year or 2 years before job hunting to now build an employable skills, basically. And that's basically when I started doing a lot of research. You know, my friend didn't like to talk about, I was telling me, oh, guy, have you heard about data science? It seems to be something that is really in vogue and going to be the trend in the future. And that discussion that very day actually led to a real research for me. I did almost like 2-3 weeks trying to do research regarding what kind of skill can I now learn to make myself employable, to make myself sought after as a young graduate. And data science actually came into the picture. I'm very sure every one of us read that popular article by Harvard Business Review that says data science is one of the sexiest jobs in the 21st century. Yes, that article actually blew my mind, got me fascinated about data science, and that was basically it. So now, what was my journey like? Now, I had it at the first point that I wanted to be a data scientist. So it wasn't that, because that was basically what I saw in the article. Data science is the sexiest job in the 21st century, even though now I know that not until you wear the title data science, right, data scientist, can you bring value as a data professional. But right from start, I wanted to be a data scientist. And it's not like now where you have a lot of academies. There are a lot of academy. Data Jedi is there as an amazing academy. There was no academy when I started out. It was just all plethora of resources out there. So that means it was all over the internet, different resources, overload of information. So I actually fell into that ditch of information overload. So that means I was jumping from one resource to another. I'll take one course, I'll probably dump it halfway, I'll jump to another course, leave that one, I'll jump to another course. And I actually also didn't have any mentor, anybody to guide me, because like I said, the space was pretty new. But now thanks to Data Science Nigeria. So Data Science Nigeria came out 2018. And I guess that was actually one thing that gave me that guidance. And Microsoft also released a scholarship just to help data lovers, data enthusiasts to kind of learn the analytics workflow and all the skill sets. So I practically took all the different courses and all of those things. Now, I would say the whole of 2018, I was jumping from one course to another, and I would say I had a good grasp. So that means if you give me, at the end of 2018, if you give me a project and say, okay, but this is a data set, what can you do with this data set? Even though I've taken tons of courses, I've taken Udacity, I've taken lots and loads of courses, I actually couldn't say I could do this stuff, right? But 2019 was the breaker where I now kind of got the hack and said, okay, fine, I think this thing actually is not about taking all the various courses. It's about knowing the right thing you need to learn. It's about building projects and all of those things before you're able to gain that mastery. So that's what I said, my learning journey transitioning into data science was kind of haphazard, which I would encourage a lot of people that want to transition now. So now you have communities you can join, loads and loads of community you can leverage on, that you have experts in the field that are able to guide you on just the important thing you need to learn to be able to thrive as data professional. You have an amazing academy like Data Jedi that's able to guide you, have experts able to teach you just the important thing you need to learn, and you would not suffer from what I suffered from, which is information overload. I was just jumping all over the space. So that's basically what my data analysis journey looked like. It was a bit of a I got from a friend discussion, I did a research, and data science came into the space for me, and I started jumping from one course to another course and all of those things. Now, I'll still talk about how I was able to get my job. Remember I said the whole of 2018 was just jumping from one course to another. 2019 was like the shaping year for me, where I kind of think I got direction to how I'm going to do things I need to do. Now, but before going into that, this session is your first job as a data science professional or data enthusiast. But before going into that, it's very important to understand what the current state of data science role is. Now, according to a report that was released last year by LinkedIn, that there was a surge, a decline in data science job role. Now, so it was discovered that in 2020, as you can see here, it said the growth in data science interview plateaued in 2020. It grew only by 10%, as against the previous year, where you have about 80% growth. So that means from 2017, 2018, 2019, there was so much of demand for data scientists. Everybody was talking about data is the new oil and all of those things. So there was a surge in the demand for data scientists. But now in 2020, we see that there was a sharp, the growth actually dropped to 10%, as against data engineering roles, as well as data analyst role that increased exponentially compared to data science role. So that means we saw a decline in data science job role, even until now. And now, why is that the case? Does that mean organizations no longer recruit data scientists? No. Now, explain why there seems to be a decline to land that first job. Now, why is that the case? Now, according to an amazing article that was released by Monica Rogadit, she actually called it the hierarchy of needs. Now, what's the hierarchy of needs? Similar to human hierarchy of needs. So as human, before you can say you have fulfillment as an individual, there are some basic needs that you think you want to have. You talk about your physical need, you talk about your psychological need, and before you get to your self-actualization. So the same thing also applies to the hierarchy of needs. Before any organization can say they want to leverage on AI, they want to start working on amazing advanced analytics, data science projects, and all of those things. Monica Rogadit explained that the basic needs in the pyramid has to be met. The same way as human, you can't say you are fulfilled as an individual if you don't have shelter, which is the need. So that means as an hierarchy of needs, any organization that wants to do amazing advanced analytics stuff need to have this hierarchy of needs. But now what we've discovered is that Many organizations, which was why there seems to be like a surge in 2018, 2019, in 2017, 2018, 2019, many organizations they understood, okay, fine, data science is going to do this for us. It's going to help us to make prediction about how our business is going to fare. It's going to bring out amazing value for us, which is not false, right? It's very, very correct. But what they fail to realize is that before they can start enjoying the value that AI brings, as you can see, AI is there at the top of the pyramid. Every other thing in the pyramid has to be met. There needs to be a data collection in place. There has to be an infrastructure, which is also a data storage in place. And the data definitely has to be well transformed before you start talking about exploring data analytics and AI. So that means, and that's why it seems as though many organizations, when they recruit data scientists, the data scientists end up doing the work of a data engineer as it were, because there are no infrastructure in place, there are no data provisioning in place, and there's no data to model as a data scientist. But if you talk about your role as a data scientist, you want to build machine learning models. And before you can build any machine learning models, you understand garbage in, garbage out. If you don't have data to model, then there's no model you want to build. And that is why you see that data scientists now end up doing a lot of data engineering work, try to make infrastructure available, try to provision data for themselves before organizations can start enjoying the AI and advanced analytics. Now, just to give you a real scenario. Now, this was a report by Kuda. Now, we all know Kuda. Kuda is an amazing fintech. They recently raised a seed funding of $25 million. That was last month. Now, Kuda just developed their modern data stack last month. And they said one of the major challenges that they had was that their data pipelines was manually done. Not as so they're doing manually, but they have all their data all over the place. So that means an amazing company like Kuda, despite they have an awesome team, they have a team of 5, but yet their main problem is not machine learning. So that means if Kuda in 2019, 2020, and even now, if they recruit, okay, now they have a modern data stack. If let's say last year, if they recruit any data scientists, there's nothing that data scientist is going to do. The data scientist will end up doing the work of a data engineer or the new role, which I'm going to explain later, which is called analytics engineer. Now you see later on at the end of the report, now Kudana explained that as a result of putting their infrastructure in place by building the modern data stack, they are now well positioned to start exploring predictive analytics, which is the realm of machine learning and the core data science project. So that means you see that the reason why there seems to be a decline in data science job role is because many organizations are not yet positioned infrastructure-wise to be able to enjoy the value that AI brings. Now, I'm not saying organizations don't do ML stuff, but only very few organizations are actually doing fanciful and exciting stuff relating to machine learning stuff. I can tell you for a fact, based on what I've seen while working in my former organization, and even what I've seen now in the space, many organizations are still doing core analytics, and very, very few organizations are doing the real machine learning. And that's the main reason, because the hierarchy of needs is not met. The infrastructure is not yet in place. There's no data pipeline in place that will support quality data that data scientists will need to model their data. Now, having established the fact that the hierarchy of needs seems not to be in place, now that means that there will be high demand, which is already happening. There will be high demand for data scientists that have adjacent skills. So that means you are not just that data scientist that the only thing you can do is just build machine learning algorithm, but you are that data scientist that have adjacent skill. That means you can deploy your machine learning algorithm, even though there's no any machine learning engineer, you can deploy, or data engineer, you can deploy your machine learning algorithm, maybe as a web app or as the case may be, or you are that data scientist that's able to make data available for yourself in terms of preparing your building and ETL pipelines, making data available for yourself, and also provisioning data for yourself to build a machine learning algorithm. Now, I understand this is a misnomer. So that means in an ideal scenario where you have a full-fledged data team, you're supposed to have a data engineer who is making the infrastructure available, provisioning the data you need to use. You have the data scientist, all you are just doing is you focus on building your machine learning algorithm. And you probably have an MLOps team or a DevOps team, or even a data engineer who is involved in helping you deploy the machine learning algorithm that you built, and you have the data analyst there who is building all those interesting insights. But that is not the reality in Nigeria. Many companies, that is not reality. So that means you would have to be a data scientist that have that adjacent skill. That means you can work on an end-to-end data science project. You can extract your data from whatever sources the data is sitting, whether in a data warehouse or whatever data source is. You can do all your data cleaning, build all your ETL pipeline that will make data available for yourself. Then you can go ahead and deploy your machine learning algorithm. And that's why I said there'll be a high demand for data scientists that have adjacent skill. And now, and that's why now, even though that seems to be like, oh, okay, does it now mean I will now become a data engineer, as it were, building infrastructure, building data pipelines, and all of those things? But the interesting thing about it is this. Now, there's a new role that I imagine, which most of the time data scientists or even data analysts actually grow into that particular role. Now, the reason why they grow into that particular role is because of the hierarchy of need I explained. Now, I'm still going to let you know what my day look like in Cowrywise. Now, as you can see, like I explained, now what does an analytical engineer basically do? Now, analytical engineer is basically do what I explained. There's no infrastructure. You can build your infrastructure, make infrastructure available, build data pipelines, make your dashboard available, and you are practically doing that thing alone. And that's why I said the analytical engineering role is actually one that a data analyst or a data scientist will actually
as a string. Well, yes.
Okay. Which a data analyst will actually grow into. So now, having established that, yes, there's a decline in the job role of data scientists, not because organizations don't need data scientists, but because many organizations are not ready to start exploring data science job. But now, yes, does it now mean you learning to be a data scientist is actually not a good one? Trust me, it's an amazing one. It's still one of the sexiest jobs in the 21st century. Only that maybe it's not ripe yet. But now, how can you position yourself as that data scientist who has learned that skill to make yourself get that job that you want? And like I talked about, you learning some adjacent skill. But most importantly, how do you learn that data science job? Now, just to place a caveat. Now, whatever I'll be saying here does not mean if you apply it now, you're going to get a job in the next 1 month, or you're going to get a job in the next 2 months. Because like Mr. AY rightly mentioned, the data space is actually a very competitive space. A lot of people are trying to break in. So that means you would have to position yourself. You have to be dogged. You would have to be determined, basically, to say no matter what, you are going to give it whatever it will take. So the first thing you should bear in mind is that the newer you are in the industry, the harder it is to get a job. And that is the truth. So that means be prepared to get a lot of rejection emails. Now, before I got my first job, trust me, on average, I think I had about on average 60 email rejection. I'm not exaggerating. I'm telling you fact. Rejection on, oh, we are sorry, thank you for applying, a lot of those things. So one should prepare your mind that yes, because it's a new field, I'm a rookie and a new joiner in this field, then I already know that it's going to be very difficult for me, not impossible. So the moment you have that at the back of your mind, then you prepare your mind for all those rejection email. You prepare your mind to be persistent, that no matter what, no matter how the rejection email, you keep applying. You just keep shooting application before that job comes in. So this is actually very, very real, very normal to anybody that have actually been fortunate enough to get a job. Now, there are very few, there are outliers that are very lucky and fortunate enough to probably get a job in their first month of learning data science. I can tell you those guys are actually an outlier. It's not the normal thing, right? Majority of us actually, before we got our first job, we got loads of rejection. So once you prepare your mind, it will help you to know how to channel all your energy so that you don't get hurt, you don't get frustrated, you don't allow lethargy to set in when those rejection emails start dropping. So you must be persistent and should develop a shock absorber for rejection love letter. So be prepared for it. They will come in their hundreds, in their 50, in their tens, just be prepared for it. And now still on why you need to be persistent. Now I saw this on LinkedIn by a friend, Jessica. Now she got a job 2 months ago and she posted some of her fun facts regarding the ASU relating to how she was able to get a job. Now she said in the space of 5 months, she submitted 300 applications. Now, just think about it. That looks so crazy. Like this is some form of desperation. But it's not desperation. I guess it's just giving it what it takes, right? And at the end of the day, she got 3 offers. Now, think about it. 300 applications. She got interviewed by 20 companies. That's less than 10%. Then she got 3 offers. So that means, so now imagine yourself if you are not even applying at all. So that means you even reduce your chances of even getting a job. So be prepared, like I said, you are not alone, and be ready to put in the work. So keep applying, keep throwing out those applications. And trust me, one of the jobs will pull through. But now, doesn't that mean you should start applying for any job that you see? Because I'm not now saying if you see any data analyst role or data scientist role, just keep applying. As much as possible, you want to be strategic. Like I said, you don't just want to keep applying blindly. You want to position yourself to be able to more or less increase your chances of getting that job. So how do you position yourself to land a DS job? The first thing is build a data science portfolio. Now, why do I say build a data science portfolio? I'm very sure many of us are very familiar with this. You see an entry-level job requirement that says it's for fresh graduates that require 5 years of experience, 6 Olympic gold medals, and maybe superpowers. Now, this is just being sarcastic, right? Now, I'm sure you've seen something like this. An entry-level job role that requires almost all the entire stack. And you're wondering, how do I get the experience as an entry-level data scientist or as an entry-level data professional? Where all HR managers, all job vacancies are basically asking for experience, which I don't have. And people often ask me, okay, how will I get experience when this company are not even ready to hire us as an intern? And that's just it. So now what does this tell you? Now this basically tells you that even for an entry-level role, most companies want to have people with a bit of real life experience. So that means even if you are coming in as an intern, even if you are coming in as an entry-level role, organizations don't want you to just come in blank. They want you to come in such that you have very little, more or less tutelage. You are able to kick the ground running as swift as possible. But now the question you probably will ask yourself is, how do I get that real life experience? Now, one way you get that real life experience is you develop a personal data science project or portfolio. Now, this is also a post somebody made on one of the thought leaders I follow on LinkedIn. Now, he said, my last 3 data science hire had a combined 0 years of data experience, but they were the best hire I ever made. He said, why? Because all of them had amazing data portfolio, eye-popping graphics, brilliant analysis, stunning breadth and depth of work. He said, but none of them worked at the fund. I think it's just some shade or a 1,400 company or anything else. He now said, internships are great, especially for learning the soft skill rope. He said, but your project portfolio is where you strut your stuff. Ignore this as your own peril. That was a bit harsh, but that's actually the reality. So that means even though you may not necessarily be able to get that real life experience, but you can simulate a real life experience for yourself, leveraging on a data science portfolio. That means you can work on an end-to-end data science project, leverage on open source data that are available, build an end-to-end project that probably take your data from your a data warehouse, because obviously in real life, your data won't be in CSV in Excel. Your data will probably be in a particular data storage or data warehouse. Build an end-to-end project that probably will allow you to extract data from a particular data warehouse, build all your data transformation, and build that machine learning algorithm from that particular data. And not only stop there, because definitely your end user will not use your machine learning model in your Jupyter notebook. They will be interacting with that particular project. So how do you do that? You want to deploy that machine learning model. So now imagine if you work on a project that's end-to-end. Now, an hiring manager, anybody that wants to recruit, even if it's an entry level, already understand that this person already have what it takes, such that even if you bring this person in, this person have that experience, that real life simulated experience based on the data science portfolio. Now, aside that, why do you need a data science portfolio? Now, based on 2 things, it's an evidence of your data science skill. Now, if you just post on your resume, I can use SQL, I can use Python, I can use NumPy, I can use scikit-learn. How would an hiring manager actually believe that truly you can use those stuff and it's not a fluke? One way any hiring manager can trust your skill set is if you actually have real data science portfolio that they can see, they can make reference to either an article either a project that you blogged about, or either a project that you work on that you deploy as a web app. So it's actually an evidence of your data science skill. And also, it is the only option to build trust in any recruiter without a relevant degree. Now, as much as possible, not everybody will have a BSc in data science. I didn't have a BSc in data science, and I'm sure a couple of people didn't have a BSc or MSc in data science. So that means because you don't have that degree, a portfolio is a way that will show that even if I don't have a degree in computer science, even if I don't have a degree in statistics and mathematics, but I've learned enough to work on projects that actually showcase that I've learned the required skill that will make me actually very valuable if I get this job. And that's why you need to build a solid data science portfolio. Now, what do I mean by solid data science? You don't want to work on a project that is common, right? Now, so what kind of data science portfolio should I develop? There are loads of data science portfolio, but I often tell people the first thing is build a data science portfolio around your interest. Because as much as possible, because this will form your interview experience. Any data science interview that you go to, that you are privileged to recruit for, they will always ask you, tell me about a project that you worked on. And as much as possible, you want to talk about a project you are enthusiastic about. You want to talk about a project that excites you. And that means because as much as possible, if you work on an interesting project, it will show in the way you will talk about it in that interview. And that means you want to be sure that you pick a project you are very, very interested in. So that means someone like me that probably is not interested in sports, I probably will not pick a data set and work on a project relating to sport. So you want to build a portfolio of a data science portfolio around your area of interest.
Turn right onto Benjamin Park.
So this is actually a code from the data science manager at Cora. He said, I love projects where people show that they are interested in data in a way that goes beyond homework assignment. He said, any sort of class final project where you explore an interesting data set and find interesting results. He said, put effort into the write-up. So that means, this is just to buttress what I said earlier, pick an interesting project to work on. Whatever your area of interest is, finance, health, education, trust me, there are loads of open source data set that you can leverage on to work on those exciting projects for yourself. Now, the second thing is you also want to build a portfolio that showcases other soft skills, probably a portfolio that showcases your communication skill, your problem solving and structured thinking. And when I talk about communication skill, you probably want to work on a project and write a blog about it. Because obviously, when you're writing a blog, you want to communicate all your technical details to be able to let whoever will be reading your article to understand your thought process behind that analysis, to understand why you did what you did, basically. So you also want to work on a project that showcases other soft skills. You also want to work on a project that showcases other adjacent skills, like your basic software development, because you know you definitely would want to deploy your model. So you also want to work on a project that showcases that, okay, yes, I'm a data scientist, but I also have some basic adjacent skill like software development to be able to deploy my machine learning model that I will be deploying. Now, I'm looking at my time. So now once you have your data science project sorted, the next thing is you want to craft a good data science resume. Now, I've seen a lot of resume of amazing people that I know they are very good, they have the skill sets, they probably work on an amazing project, but the resume is nothing to write home about. And I've been privileged for a recruiter to ask me, oh, do you have anybody to do this? Share me their resume. And when those people send me their resume and I see their resume, I'm like, even me, myself, I don't think if I see the resume, I'm going to recruit you. Because even if you have the skill set, because I know you personally, your resume actually does not depict that you actually have this skill set. Your resume is you. And as they often say, it only takes 10 seconds for any hiring manager or recruiter to see through your CV. Because the recruiter actually makes judgment about your technical skill based on what your resume portrays. So without a robust resume, you may not even get an interview invite. So even if you have the awesome technical skills, you can use Python well, you can use SQL well, you can do all those build ETL pipelines, you can even deploy a machine learning model. Trust me, if your resume is shitty, then you definitely may not even get an interview, except there are rare cases where hiring manager probably just reach out to you because they saw your project, which I'll still talk about. Maybe they just reach out to you, they saw your work, a project that you worked on, and it's kind of interesting. Maybe those are like few exceptions, right? There are always exceptions to this rule. So now, what should you have in an ideal DS resume? You want to have your basic information, then you want to highlight your skills. What are things you can use? Your Power BI, your SQL, your Python, and all the necessary stack you can basically use. Now, you also want to have a section on project. Now, this is for fresh graduates and those transitioning. Now, somebody like myself, I don't need a section on personal project again, because my previous experience already shows that I can do this stuff. So that's why I don't need a section on project. But for fresh graduates who are transitioning, who don't necessarily have a work experience to show that they can do this stuff, so you want to have a section on projects that basically show all the personal projects that you actually worked on. And you also want to highlight all the volunteering stuff, competition you participated in, and all of those things. Now, this is basically like a short, a template that you can replicate when building out your resume. Now, the last thing is put yourself out there. Now, as much as possible, build your personal brand. What comes to people's mind when they think about you? So you want to create a niche for yourself. Now, you may build that, you might work on that awesome project. If you don't post about it, nobody would know. So there's nothing like being proud about this data space. Post whatever stuff, share your thoughts, have an active online profile, because it's actually a good signal for any hiring manager. Keep posting stuff, keep posting stuff. I can tell you a couple of hiring managers that have reached out to me because they're like, oh, we love the post that you wrote. Very amazing. Can we have a conversation? And all of those things. So that means even if I have those ideas in my head, if I don't post about them, now I may not be looking for a job now, right? But as much as possible, I'm just saying, if you work on an amazing project, write an article about it, blog about it, post it on any of your social media, post it on GitHub, write a Medium post, put it on LinkedIn, and all of those things. So don't be scared or afraid to make that bold step of putting yourself out there. So put yourself out there. You don't have to work, you don't have to have years of experience. Trust me, the little thing you know, somebody will learn from it. I've actually read an article on logistic regression by someone I even taught this science, and I was like, oh, this is actually a good perspective to it. So that means, trust me, anybody can learn from you. So you don't have to be scared and say, oh, what do I have to share? I'm just a newbie in this space. Trust me, you have something to share as long as you are putting in the effort you're learning. So that's basically how you can basically position yourself to get that job. Like I said, first, prepare your mind that you get a lot of rejection. It is inevitable. Once you prepare your mind, secondly, put in the work. Apply, shoot those job application. Just keep applying. Don't get tired. Even if you can tell yourself, every week I want to apply at least 10 jobs a week or 20 jobs per week. The fun fact I share with you, Jessica said she applied to job on average 7 jobs per day. So now you can get crazy like that, right? So you need to put in the work. Now, once you start putting the work, so does it mean you want to start applying anyhow? No, you want to ensure that you have that skill set. You want to build a portfolio. It is the portfolio that you build that will give you that confidence to be able to apply to those jobs when you see them, and also give you that ability, that confidence to put yourself out there, right? So work on an amazing project. And how can you talk about an amazing project? Work on a project that you are fascinated about, a project that showcases other soft skills or other skills basically outside of the data science space, and you want to put yourself out there. So before I wrap up, I'll basically talk about my insight, an insight basically into my day, what my day look like at Cowrywise. Now, this is basically the stack of tools that I use. Now, like I said, now, even though I was recruited as a data scientist, I think I'm basically doing the work of an analytics engineer. Because when I came in, yes, I want to build all those fancy for machine learning algorithm. We know we're a fintech company. We offer different investment product and savings product. The amazing AI use cases like customer churn, like recommendation engine, customer segmentation, and all those amazing ML use cases. But now the reality is this. Now, I actually can't start doing all those amazing stuff if there are no data provisioning in place. And that's why I had to wear the cap of, as it were, I don't think I'm a data engineer because I don't have the skill set as it were as a data engineer, but I've been able to build the whole infrastructure myself from scratch, right? Leveraging on all of this too. I use Airbyte for my data injection. So the whole idea around analytics engineering or modern data stack is basically to help you to own your analytics workflow such that even if you may not have the skill set, like I said, before any organization can start building all those amazing machine learning use cases, all those amazing dashboard, from the hierarchy of need, like I explained, there has to be a data storage in place. there has to be a data infrastructure in place, there has to be a data pipeline in place, and all of those things. So that means I need to find a way to build my data pipeline. And what do I use to build my data pipeline? I use Airbyte. There are a lot of amazing tools you can use for your data injection. So Airbyte basically helped me extract all my data from different sources, whether from my transactional database like my SQL, whether from Google Analytics that we use for our event tracking, and all the different data sources like Firebase. Load all of those data into a data warehouse for me. As we know, a data warehouse basically helps you to have that one single source of truth, such that you don't have all your data scattered all over the place. You want to have just a particular place where your data are stored. Then from there, you can start extrapolating, start doing all your machine learning, all your amazing data analytics, and all of those things. So I use Airbyte to do my data injection. I use DBT, which is an amazing tool I discovered 3 months ago. DBT is used basically for data modeling. Now, for those that are familiar with building data warehouse, all those you're building your star schema and all of those stuff, DBT actually simplified that job for you. And interestingly, DBT is built on SQL. So that means if you are good with SQL, you can easily pick up DBT in the space of 1 month. So I use SQL to build my data pipeline in DBT. And I use BigQuery as my data warehouse. We currently use Metabase. Metabase is a BI tool. There are a lot of BI tools. Metabase is in the family of Looker. So there's actually what is called an emergence of SQL-based BI tool, the likes of Looker, the likes of Mode, and all of those things. So Metabase is in that bracket. It's different from Power BI and Tableau, even though they are also a form of data visualization. So I use Metabase for my data visualization. And there are instances that I use my Python to build custom connectors. So there are instances I want to do some data transformation. I want to build some connectors that are not available on Airbyte. So I will need to build the workflow using Python. Now, as you can see, my job role is actually divided into two. I'm doing the infrastructure side of things, managing my infrastructure, building data pipelines, and all of those things. And there's also the second thing I do, which is attending to business requests. So what do I mean by business requests? My CEO can ask me, can chat me up and say, oh, okay, I want to understand how is this particular product faring in the last 6 months. Or my product manager can say, okay, fine, we're trying to churn out a new campaign or want to add a new feature into this particular product. Now, I want to understand what has been the impact of this product we integrated last month on our AUM. Our AUM is basically asset under management. So that means as people are saving on Cowrywise platform, as people are investing on Cowrywise platform, the assets that we have that we are managing is basically called our AUM. And that's actually one of the major KPI that we track. So that means whatever thing that we're doing, the question that they will always ask the product manager or the growth team is, how does this impact the AUM? So the CEO might ask me, what is the impact of this particular feature on the AUM last month? The product team can probably come up with a list of requests and ask me, oh, help us to do this. Or the growth team can tell me, oh, we want to come up with a content and then we want it to be data-driven. Or like the new feature we just released, the saving goals, which is basically to help people as for football lovers. So the growth team can ask me and say, okay, fine, we want to understand how are this particular club doing in terms of AUM, basically. So I basically attend to anything data request. And when I talk about data request, I have to build dashboard because obviously they can relate with dashboard, not all the numbers. They want to see dashboard, they want to see trends. So I also build all those dashboards. And that's basically what my day basically look like. I do infrastructure work and I also attend to business requests. So now once my infrastructure is completed, now I have a long list of roadmap of machine learning use cases I want to start building from, because now the infrastructure is sorted, the data pipeline is sorted, my data is available, well transformed, all thanks to DBT that helped me. So now, if I want to start building my data model, my machine learning algorithm, I don't need to stress myself again on doing anything called data transformation, because whatever is coming out of my output of my data modeling, which is my DBT, is a well-cleaned data ready for modeling without any stress. So that means I would have factored in all the necessary features I need for my data extract, for my feature engineering, my feature selection, and all of those things. And that's basically how the whole workflow basically look like for me. So lastly, before I think I've actually overshoot my time, is I often say it at the end of all my presentation that it's a marathon, not a sprint. So that means it's a lifelong journey. Liturgy will set in at some point. You get frustrated at some point. You would actually not have any enthusiasm, any motivation to do anything at some point. But once you realize that it's a marathon, not a sprint, so you won't box yourself and tell yourself, oh, I want to be a data scientist. I want to learn this skill in 6 months and get a job and get disappointed. So that at the end of 6 months, you only discover that you only learned the fundamental. Or at the end of 6 months, you only discover that all the jobs that you've applied, all you've been getting is rejection. We are sorry, we are sorry. So once you understand that it's a marathon, not a sprint, to help you not to put yourself under undue pressure, to help you not to kind of overstress yourself. So just keep putting in the work, keep learning, keep churning out those projects. Trust me, definitely one job will be the breaker. And the interesting thing about this field is the moment you get that first job, it becomes seamless going forward. Thank you everyone for listening. Question?
Wow, thank you very much, Opeyemi. What a fantastic presentation. Thank you for the tips. Thank you for everything. Okay, so we're going to take questions. Fola Jimmy had already put the platform, which is slides.do, where we have the questions. So that's where I'm going to go to. But while I'm trying to navigate to slides.do, okay, I'm just going to start off with this question. So a lot of people, emphasize on data science, but we also know that there are adjacent fields such as data analysis or data analysts, right? So people say data scientist role, but people don't talk a lot about the data analyst role. And from the statistics you shared earlier, it seemed like the data analyst role was even getting in higher demand and, rising. It would just be good to hear your perspective. I mean, both from a local standpoint and international standpoint. This data analyst role, is it also an interesting space that people can also consider, right? As against just everyone just focusing a whole lot on just data science.
Thank you very much. So generally, what I often tell people that reach out to me is that as much as possible, before you start diving into the data science space, you want to have a little bit of analytics skill, which are very, very easy to learn. You want to at least learn SQL, you can easily pick up. You want to learn one visualization tool, like maybe your Power BI or Tableau, which are also very easy to pick up as against going into the core technical stuff. Now, the reason why it seems as though the data analyst role is increasing simultaneously alongside data engineering role is the fact that now, obviously, the data engineer build the pipeline, make the data available. Now, stakeholders still need the reporting. A data scientist build machine learning algorithm talking about the future. But before any organization can start talking about predictive analytics, they need to do the first two first. They need to do the descriptive analytics or even the diagnostic analytics, which I think is also descriptive analytics. So they need to be able to still answer the question, what has happened in the past? How have we fared? How is this particular product doing? How is this revenue faring? And trust me, this might just be the only thing organization needs to be data driven for 1 or 2 years before they can now say they are ready to start building machine learning algorithm. And definitely is a data analyst that will help them to answer those kind of questions, right? A data scientist, obviously, a data scientist can still do the work of a data analyst if you actually equip yourself based on what I call those adjacent skills, even though the converse may not necessarily be true. A data analyst may not necessarily fit in the position of a data scientist. But most often than known, I think most data scientists that I know of can actually do the work of a data analyst. So that means, even though, yes, Power BI may not be my focus, Excel might not be my focus, and all of those things, but I think if I get a project, I can definitely pull it through to do all of those stuff. So as much as possible, even if you want to focus on becoming a data scientist, because as much as possible, some people just have that interest and say, okay, fine, building data visualization can be boring to me. Or I gotta be thinking about, oh, this color is not okay, and all of those things can actually be boring to some people. So some people will actually prefer the core technical stuff. So you want to dive into building all those machine learning algorithms, deploying all those stuff, which is very, very amazing. But as much as possible, have those adjacent skills. Learn a little bit of SQL, learn a little bit of Power BI visualization, such that even when you are applying for that job, you can actually put it there that, yes, you can use this skill. So you don't more or less box yourself and say, okay, fine, I'm just a data scientist. I can't do anything a data analyst can do, basically. So I think that is why the data analyst role seems to be increasing, right? Because organization, like the instance I showed, the picture I posted on the CUDA report that was released. Now, CUDA has been doing descriptive analytics. So that means everything CUDA has been doing, and they've been doing amazing stuff. has just been descriptive analytics. So they actually outlined it themselves that they've been doing descriptive analytics. And I'm very, very sure it's a data analyst that is doing all those stuff, that is building all those dashboards, all those reports, and all of those things. So even now they are saying they want to start doing advanced analytics. Okay, fine. They can decide to say they want to recruit a data scientist or even equip their in-house data analysts to grow into that particular role to start doing all those fanciful stuff.
Thank you very much, Okwe. That was well said, well said. Okay, I'm probably just going to take 2 or 3 questions. I'm just going to take the most upvoted questions. So the first one says, what are must-haves for every employer on the CV of a prospective entry-level data analyst? I guess you could just take that.
Yeah,
what are the must-haves? Okay.
Yeah, I think the most important is SQL. As much as possible, I can't overemphasize Excel. Your data, the dashboard you'll be presenting will not be coming from Excel. Well, maybe in a very, very small company, it may be in Excel and CSV, but most of the organization you'll be working with, your data will not be coming from Excel. Now, I've heard people say, but I'm not a data engineer. Why should I bother myself about data, SQL and all of those things? But like I said, this is the reality. So you want to have an SQL skill. You want to be very good to an intermediate level. Excuse me, with SQL. Now you probably may ask me, how do I showcase to an hiring manager that I know SQL? It's not just to take some courses, but I can tell you there are various ways you can showcase your skill. You want to participate in Akarank. Akarank is a global online portal that you can test and practice quizzes and the likes. And there's a new one that I often recommend to everybody, Danima Challenge. Danima is a popular thought leader in data science on LinkedIn. Now, Danima has an 8 weeks data SQL challenge. Now, I did the first 4 weeks before I got busy. I can tell you those questions there are solid. They are real life simulated. And I'm not exaggerating. If you can do all those challenges well, you can tell yourself that you have an intermediate SQL skill. So you want to be able to showcase that, yes, you have an SQL skill. You want to be able to showcase that you have a visualization skill, whether your Power BI or Tableau, any one of your choosing. So, and that means you also want to work on projects. Remember, I talk about learning those things and working on a portfolio, because the portfolio that will show that if you just post and say, oh, I can use SQL, I can use Python, I can use Power BI, how will anybody know you can use all of those tools? So you have to have a portfolio. So the 3 most important things is Excel for analytics. Don't allow, as somebody said today in my group, don't allow Excel to embarrass you, right? Learn Excel for analytics. Excel is still one of the most underutilized tools. There are some amazing analytics that you can do with Excel, leveraging on your Power Query, your Power Pivot, and even your DAX, right, with Excel. So learn Excel for analytics, learn Power BI or Tableau, and be very, very strong with SQL. And if you want to have like an advantage, an edge, you want to have a little bit of Python. Like I said, not core, but if you want to make yourself like, you want to have an edge, you want to have a little bit of Python, maybe some pandas and NumPy, then definitely you are well positioned as a data analyst because you basically have all the necessary skill you need.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so the second question, and this will be the second to the last really, is at what point do you know that you're ready to apply for entry-level data science role?
Okay, you'll never be ready. That's the truth. You will always, if there's one thing you would always have, is imposter syndrome. Trust me, you would always have it. You always feel like, what if I get this particular job? Do I think I have the skill? Right? And as much as possible, I tell people, once you've learned the fundamental by taking few courses, learn the fundamental, take few courses, work on projects. So once you work on projects and you have a project to show that you know this thing, trust me, start shooting your applications. So don't wait till after 6 months. If you work on project after your 3rd month, then that's when you're actually ready. So you, like I said, you increase your chances once you have a portfolio to show for it, because that's actually one thing that would interest any hiring manager. So once you already have a portfolio that probably show your SQL skill, you already have a portfolio that show your data analysis or visualization skill, you probably show a portfolio that probably show your machine learning skill and even an end-to-end project, then trust me, start shooting those applications.
All right, the last question is, for someone without a STEM background, what are things you can do to stand out to employers?
it still boils down to data portfolio. Like I said two things the data portfolio do for you is it builds that trust for you, it builds that trust in the mind of any hiring manager or any recruiter that even though this guy study accounting or even though this guy study philosophy in university, but we've seen amazing project and amazing portfolio this guy actually built. So that means forget this guy background, this guy can actually do this stuff. So it still boils down to your amazing portfolio. So that's the only thing. Learn the fundamental well, but be heavy on portfolio, not on certifications. Be heavy on portfolio. So don't get into that ocean of taking courses over and over again, taking certification over and over again. Trust me, I think it's very easy to even get any certification from anywhere. All you just need to do is study and you pass the exam. But what can really show that you have this skill is build competence by working on real projects that actually show you know this stuff. So once you build project, trust me, forget that you don't have any STEM background. Your portfolio will speak for you.
All right, thank you very much. Because of time, we won't be able to take any other questions. I'm just going to hand over to Folajimi right now, who is going to talk about Data Jedi a lot more. Thank you.
Hi guys, sorry, we would love to take more questions, but unfortunately we have to wrap up now and let Opeyemi enjoy the rest of his evening. He's been so kind to, share his time with us. But before we wrap up and say goodbye to Opeyemi, I just want to give a quick overview of what the Data Jedi Academy is about. So obviously, sorry, can you see my screen? Is that fine?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Yeah. So this is based on what Opeyemi just said. This is exactly why we built this Jedi Academy. Similar to Opeyemi, I also saw that Harvard article and I got very excited. But when I actually landed my first data science job, I was a fish in small water. I was it was a sink or swim scenario. And what I realized that most people lack when they first get started, like Ope said, is they don't understand how to work in a real world environment. They don't understand how to work on a real world data science project because you're used to doing courses and these pet projects, which are nice, but when the data is given to you, the answer is given to you, and all you have to do is optimize for an algorithm. That's not what a real world data science project is like. So that's why we built this Data Jedi Academy. To address this imbalance. So the Academy is focused on helping you build real world projects, really. That's really what we hang our hat on. We set up projects from problem formulation to model deployment is what you're going to do. We had our first cohort in February, I want to say, which was very successful. There's some of our past students that are on this call, and you can obviously check our website to hear what they have to say. If you do want to speak to any of our students before you talk to us even, let us know. I'll put you in touch with them and you can have a true one-on-one conversation with them without obviously us in the loop. But yeah, so we're starting on October 15th. By October 10th, we want to have everyone registered. And the cost is 100,000 Naira or $200. And there's a 3-month installment plan if you don't want to pay in one go. So why should you actually join? So like, Opeyemi said, literally as he was talking, I was smiling because of that's what we built the Academy on. We want to help you build a compelling portfolio. We want to help you walk across the data science project lifecycle. Like I said, from problem formulation to problem deployment. You can obviously receive critical feedback on your work. For myself, Ayo, Bio, and some of the other data science instructors on the course. You also learn how to craft a strong CV. So we have some CV sessions in place. You'll also learn how to work in the data science team. So you're going to collaborate with other people on the course. It's not an individual thing because when you get a job, you're working in a team, right? You're not working by yourself. So we want to help you simulate that environment too. And finally, you're going to also develop your communication skills because at the end of every project, you have to present to the rest of the cohort, also to a panel of data scientists. So in our last cohort, we had the CEO of Stairs, data scientists, the chief data scientist of Stairs, come and help judge the presentation. So this is why we're trying to give you the full experience of actually working as data scientists but in a controlled setting. And most of our work is actually focused on guiding you through building projects as opposed to teaching you the fundamentals. So in the program, we have Preston. That's funny. I can just use Preston if you want. He's a good friend of mine. But anyway, so in the program, we have technical sessions, career sessions, and obviously community support. So in the technical sessions, we teach topics around Dash, Power BI, SQL, ML Ops, unit tests, and hypothesis tests. Career sessions, we have a CV review workshop that comes as a part of the course. We have a HR consultant based in the UK that's going to help us join us and run that session. How to get a remote job in Nigeria. We have a couple of people who've got remote jobs in Nigeria. So even though the industry is tight on ground, you can still get a job abroad, and also relocating abroad as well. And then obviously we have the community. We have weekly co-working sessions where we say we want to mimic the work environment where you and your other colleagues are working, obviously all online, so all virtual, but you're working in a simulating environment. We have stand-ups, obviously, like I said, presentation sessions, and then we have a mentorship and feedback from the Jedi team. So in terms of what we require, now, if you're very new to data science or data analysis, this course is not for you. I have to be very honest. We don't take people that are just starting out because, like I said, the course is focused on helping you build your portfolio and build projects. So you have to have some competence before you get started on the course. So that's why we actually have an application process, and we don't just accept everybody. You have to apply, and then if you obviously think you're a good fit, we'll accept. And that's because we don't want to let you down. Okay, we don't want you thinking you're coming to here to learn, all the basics, which is not what you want to do. You should have learned the basics, the core basics before, and then you come here and we help you apply it. And we also help you touch up on the basics. If you don't fully understand it, we help you improve your understanding. And like I said, problem solving skills and discipline. These are 2 soft skills, but they're extremely important to the course. In terms of the team, it's obviously myself. I'm a data scientist and AI product manager based in the UK. I work for a fintech lender. So not quite the same as Opeyemi, but we do lending instead. We're actually launching in the Kenyan market soon. And we have Bayo. I'm sure a lot of you know Bayo. Bayo is quite famous in the Nigerian data science scene. He's also a member of our team. He's been a data scientist and software developer for over 15 years. He's going to help run some of the courses. And we have Ayo, who actually presented today, who's works is a Microsoft certified data science professional, and is also quite popular in this space, as you would know, and well connected because he knew Opeyemi. So yeah, so I think to wrap up, follow Opeyemi Fabiyi on LinkedIn, please, and everybody drop him a message on LinkedIn, thank him. We really want you to share the gems that you've learned today in this session. So share it on LinkedIn, tag Opeyemi in it. So Opeyemi, hopefully you'll be getting a flood of requests from us and a flood of thank yous. So if you could all please fill in the chat, everybody please thank Opeyemi, because this is the information he shared is really gold. And I was seeking that type of information when I first started. Also, if you want to share what you learned, tag us as well. And if you want to apply for the academy or you want to learn more, you can apply desidera.io/academy, or you can just drop me a message on LinkedIn. My name is Folajimi on LinkedIn, or actually you can join our online community. We have an online community. This is online Slack community of desidera.io. And yeah, so without further ado, can we just take 1 second to please appreciate Opeyemi. So if you could please just unmute ourselves, everybody unmute, and just give him a round of applause, please. So thank you for joining us, please. So 1, 2, 3, everybody please unmute and let's clap for Opeyemi. Thank you very much, Opeyemi. Like I said, we really appreciate this. There are a lot more questions that unfortunately we couldn't get to. We'll see what we can do afterwards. I'll send them to you. If you can, if you have the time to answer to them, then I'll send them out to every attendee so they can have their questions answered.
All right.
That'd be amazing. Thanks a lot, guys. So enjoy the rest of the evening. And yeah, have a good weekend, everybody.
Hey, Fola, what's up? Good evening, UK time, I believe.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, good.
Awesome. So I sent you a LinkedIn connection request. Hopefully you get to connect back. Yeah, so quick one. Yeah, Opeyemi talked about portfolios. So I was hoping that he could share like his own portfolio, just so that we could get like a sample of how a proper portfolio could be put up, right? So I know that yes, of course, it's going to entail your projects, things you've worked on, but I don't know. It's always difficult to find like a data science portfolio, that you could just model yours after. So if you could share yours, or if Opeyemi could share his, that would be cool. And also resume too. So there are different ways to write a resume, right? There's the ATS standard. There are international, there's the international standard, global standard to write a proper resume. And then there's the industry standard for our data science space, right? So if you could also share your resume, maybe not yours if you're not willing to, but like a template to guide for like the industry standard and global standard. So, it will be easier for people to model their CV afterwards, right? Also for ATS too, because some recruiters kind of use ATS and, that's why people get rejected. So, yeah.
Yeah. So so those are two very good questions. If you can put the questions on the Slido link I sent, then I'll try.
I've done that already.
Oh, fantastic. Then I'll chase up Opeyemi to get those answered. And then I'm going to send out the response. I also put my own CV and portfolio there for you guys.
Okay.
Mine is out of date. I haven't updated it for a couple of years. So take it with a pinch of salt. But yes, as long as those questions are on Slido, I'll get them answered to you, and we'll, by this weekend you get a response with all of them.
How are we getting the responses via Slido or via mail? Are you
via mail? Because since you signed up, I have your email, and we'll send it via mail this weekend.
Oh, okay, that's great. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Okay, awesome. Yes, it will be sent to everybody as long as you signed up for this Cryptemic. As long as you signed up for the register for the site, I have your email, and I'll send it to everybody. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. If you have any other questions, you can join the Slack community, connect with me on LinkedIn, or just post them on Slido, and I'll try and get them answered. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Chill. Hold up. You didn't send the link to the Slack channel.
So if you go on the datajedi.io, you can just click join
community.
Yeah, there's a little questionnaire. We have your answer. So we want to keep the caliber of people joining the community.
Yeah, I've done that already, so I'm hoping my application gets approved.
Yes, it will be. The community one gets approved automatically, so you receive an email with the link to the Slack.
I didn't get my email yet, though. Chill, just don't end the call yet. I'm going to my mailbox now.
I'll follow up. I have your email anyway, so I'll follow up with.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've seen that. So yeah,
I'm going to send it after this as well, so I'll send all of that together.
Okay, awesome. Thanks. I'll join the Slack community then. Blessings.
Awesome. All right, thank you, everybody. Have a good evening. All right, bye.
You too.
You want to run?
Tolu.
Don't run yet. I don't know. Sorry,